Imagine this: you've spent months prepping. Your gear's packed, tools tested, everything feels solid. You've watched the videos, read the manuals. In your head, you're ready. But when things actually go south, power's out, no water, no backup, you grab your gear, and it fails. Just like that. Maybe it breaks. Maybe it jams. Maybe it was never built for real pressure in the first place. And the worst part? It's not some cheap knockoff, it's the same stuff everyone online says is must-have. That's the trap. People think they're ready just because they own the gear, but when the system really breaks, bad gear isn't just frustrating, it's dangerous. Most won't talk about this. Too busy selling the hype. But if you want to stay ahead while others are scrambling, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe now, because by the time the next collapse hits, it'll be too late to figure this stuff out. Number 1. Rechargeable arc lighters. Let's be real, for a second arc, lighters look badass. You click a button, and boom, little electric spark. No flame, no gas, no hassle. Every beginner prepper thinks they just scored some elite tech. But here's the thing. Those sparks mean nothing when the power's out for real. You charge it via USB, right? So what happens when you're 5 days into a blackout, your power bank's empty, and there's no sun to recharge your solar brick? That fancy arc lighter in your bug-out bag? Now it's just dead plastic. And even when it's charged, it's weak. Try lighting damp tinder with it. Try starting a fire in rain or wind. That little arc is good for lighting a candle indoors, not getting a fire going in a freezing forest when your hands are shaking and everything around you is wet. I've seen guys rely on these things in field test sand. It's always the same story. They work once or twice, then either short out, glitch, or need a recharge. And trust me, in a real collapse, you don't get a second shot just because your gear failed. Here's what you need instead. A ferro rod and a reliable Bic or butane lighter. The rod will throw sparks even if it's soaked, even if your hands are freezing. And the Bic? Cheap, dependable, and lasts way longer than you think. Plus, it doesn't care about battery levels. Bottom linear arc lighters are cool for Instagram, but out in the real world, they're a one-way ticket to frustration. Don't wait till you're cold, tired, and desperate to realize your high-tech fire starter was built for comfort, not survival. Trash the gimmicks. Pack what works. Simple fire beats smart spark every time. Number 2. Compact foldable shovels. You've seen them everywhere. Those foldable shovels they call military grade or combat ready. They come packed in little camo pouches, fold into thirds, and look tough as hell online. They're compact, they're cheap, and everyone thinks they'll come in clutch during a bug out. But the minute you actually put one to work, you realize you've been played. Try digging a hole for a latrine with it. 10 minutes in, that hinge starts flexing. Handle creaks. You hit a root or a rock, and the blade bends like aluminum foil. That locking pin you thought was solid? It wobbles. Now your tactical shovel's flopping around like a broken elbow, and you're left trying to dig a trench with junk. People forget real survival isn't pretty. You're not setting up camp on soft grass. You're working in frozen dirt, rough terrain, thick brush, and that's when these foldable toys expose themselves. They weren't made for pressure, they were made for photos. And when the handle snaps, you've not only lost your shovel, you've lost a tool that could have been used to bury waste, dig fire pits, clear ground, or even defend yourself if it came to that. That's a serious gap in your setup. What you need is simple: a one-piece steel spade or entrenching tool. No moving parts, nothing to fold. Heavy? Yeah, but reliable. It'll break through clay, rocks, snow, whatever the hell you throw at it. It won't fold down into a pocket, but guess what? Neither does your survival plan. If your shovel can't handle pressure, it has no business in your gear. Foldable doesn't mean functional. Save the gimmicks for the YouTube thumbnails. In a real collapse, you don't need tools that look tactical. You need tools that survive the same hell you do. Number 3. Shovels tactical pens with glass breakers. These things are everywhere. Black aluminum pens with sharp ends, glass breakers, and marketing that screams, EDC must have. People throw them in their bags thinking, if I ever get attacked, I've got this. Reality check. In an actual survival situation, that pen's doing a whole lot of nothing. Let's be real, if you're in a situation where you need to defend yourself, are you really going to reach for a pen? And even if you do, what's it going to do? You stab once, maybe? If the other guy's wearing a jacket, good luck with penetration. And if he's armed? You've basically brought a toothpick to a gunfight. And don't even get started on the glass breaker tip. It's not hardened steel, it's barely sharp. If your plan is to escape a car wreck or bust through a window during chaos, you better pray that the pen doesn't slip, bend, or bounce off. Because most of them do. I've seen dozens of these breaks during actual testing. The clip snaps, the threading strips, and that self-defense grip they brag about? Slippery as hell if your hands are wet, sweaty, or shaking. The truth is, tactical pens are more about looking cool than being useful. They're a showpiece. Something to flex in an EDC flat lay, not something to actually depend on when lives are at stake. If you're serious about survival, skip the gimmicks. Carry a proper knife. Keep a real pry tool in your car. And if you want a writing tool, carry a damn pen. Don't overcomplicate it. Your gear has one job: work when you need it. No questions asked. And if your life ever depends on a tactical pen, you've already lost. Number 4. Self-filtering water bottles. Sounds genius, right? A water bottle that filters as you sip. Clean water on the go. No setup, no waiting. It's one of the first things people throw in their bug-out bag and also one of the first to fail when things get real. Here's the problem. These bottles are built for convenience, not endurance. They're fine if you're hiking a trail and sipping from a stream, but in an actual collapse where you're pulling water from a muddy ditch, stagnant pond, or busted pipe, these filters clog fast. And once they do, that's it. You're stuck with a plastic jug that can't give you a drop. The flow rate? Trash. Takes real effort to suck water through once there's any grit or debris. And if you're tired, dehydrated, or just don't have the lung power left, you're not getting anything out of it. Let's talk durability. Drop it once onto a rock, from your pack, even just out of the cairn, that plastic cracks. Filter housing loosens. The whole thing leaks or becomes unusable. And trust me, mid-crisis isn't when you want to be testing if your bottle's still holding up. Now imagine this in winter. These filters retain water inside. That water freezes, game over. Filter cracks internally and you won't even know it. You'll keep drinking, thinking you're safe, and end up with a gut full of bacteria. Here's what actually works. A stainless steel bottle, a basic gravity filter bag, and purification tablets as backup. Yeah, it's not sip and go. But you know what it is? Reliable. Water is survival. You can't afford cute solutions that break down after a few uses. A water filter should be rugged, field-tested, and easy to clean or replace. Most of these bottle filters? Just marketing in a crisis-colored shell. Don't gamble on hydration. Not when everything else is already falling apart. Number 5. USB heated blankets and vests. These sound great on paper. Stay warm without fire. Powered by any power bank. Lightweight and efficient. Sounds like a dream for survival, right? Until you actually try to depend on one when the temperature drops and the grid's gone. Let's get straight to it. These things run on USB power, not propane, not batteries. Just weak, short-lived USB juice. You might get some warmth if your power bank is full and you're not using it for anything else, but a real cold doesn't care about your battery level. Now picture this. You're out in freezing temps. It's day 4 with no power, your phone's dead, and your last power bank is at 12%. Are you going to burn it on a glorified electric blanket that barely gets warm? Because make no mistake, most of these things don't heat your whole body. They warm a tiny patch on your back or chest, and that's it. Your arms? Freezing. Legs? Frozen. Wind? Cuts right through. And what if it rains? Or snow? These circuits aren't sealed. You get them wet, they short. Now you've got a soaked vest or blanket that doesn't just stop working. It might be dangerous to keep wearing. You know what works better? Wool. Plain and simple. Wool blankets, wool layers, even a reflective bivy sack. They don't need power, they don't short out, and if they get wet, they'll still keep you warm. That's real-world survival gear. The worst part? These USB-heated products take up space in your pack and give you a false sense of security. You think, I've got warmth covered, when in reality, you've got a gadget that's useless without electricity. In a real collapse, you need heat sources that don't rely on tech. Fire, insulation, layers. Not something that blinks red and dies when the world does too. If your warmth plan runs on USB, it's not a plan, it's a gamble. And gambling's a luxury you won't have when the temperature drops for real. Number 6. Tactical bracelets with built-in tools. You've seen them everywhere: paracord survival bracelets with a mini compass, flint fire starter, tiny blade, and sometimes even a whistle. Looks cool, right? Feels like you've got half your survival kit wrapped around your wrist. But when it's time to actually depend on that thing, reality kicks in hard. Let's break it down. That little compass? Most of the time it's just spinning in circles. You move slightly, it gives you a different direction. Useless when you're lost in the woods or trying to find your way out of a city grid-down scenario. The fire starter? Half the time it's so small and awkward to grip that you can't even get a decent spark out of it. And even if you do, try lighting a real fire when it's cold, damp, or windy. That toy-sized flint rod isn't going to cut it. Then there's the knife. If you can even call it that. It's more like a dull, stubby piece of metal that might open a box, but don't count on it for food prep, defense, or cutting rope under pressure. And the whistle? Might work in a YouTube test. But in an actual emergency with panic, weather, or distance in play? Don't count on anyone hearing it. People get sucked in by the idea of all-in-one. But survival doesn't work like that. You don't want mini versions of tools. You want real, proven, full-size gear that works when your hands are shaking, the light's gone, and you've only got seconds to act. Paracord itself? Yeah, that's useful. It is always good to have rope. But the rest of the bracelet? It's just gear cosplay. Don't fall for tactical jewelry. You're not accessorizing, you're surviving. Strap real tools to your pack, your belt, your hip. Leave the bracelets for people playing survival, not living it. Number 7. Smartwatch survival apps. Let's talk about one of the newest scams in the prepping world. Survival apps on smartwatches, GPS tracking, offline maps, compass, SOS, features all wrapped into one sleek little device on your wrist. Sounds futuristic, right? Problem is, the real world doesn't run on hype and these things fold fast in actual emergencies. First off, battery life. You might get a day or two, max, if you're lucky and barely touch the screen. Start using GPS or emergency tools, that battery tank's hard. And when it's dead, it's not a watch, it's just extra weight on your wrist. Second, fragility. These things are designed for fitness tracking, not field survival. You hit a branch, fall on rocks, get caught in rain or mud, good luck. Screens crack, buttons freeze, and once water gets inside, game over. No field repair, no backups, no signal, just a dead screen. And don't get fooled by offline maps. Most of these apps need preloaded data, clear skies for GPS, and still struggle in forests, canyons, or buildings. That means no signal, no tracking, no help. Then there's the whole SOS beacon fantasy. You're off-grid, you press the button, now what? If there's no network coverage and in a real collapse, there won't be who's even getting that signal. You think satellites are going to prioritize your watch when entire grids are down? Prepping isn't about cool tech, it's about what works when nothing else does. You want navigation? Get a real compass. You want direction? Learn how to read a paper map. You want backup? Keep your tools analog, low-tech, and unbreakable. That fancy smartwatch might look tactical on your wrist, but when you're cold, tired, and 5 days into a blackout, it's not going to save you. And once that screen goes black, so does your false sense of security. Real gear doesn't beep, buzz, or update firmware. It just works. Every time. Number 8. Pre-packaged tactical meal kits. They look cool. Vacuum-sealed, military-style packaging, bold labels like Extreme Survival Ration or 48-hour bugout fuel. Feels like you're buying security. But peel back the label and you'll find a lot of hype and not nearly enough calories to survive a real crisis. Let's start with what really matters. Energy. A lot of these kits advertise big numbers, 2,000 calories per day, but check the fine print. That's often before water's added, or the full number is spread over 2 days. Most of these kits average around 1,200 to 1,400 actual calories a day, bare minimum for survival, and nowhere near enough if you're doing anything physical like chopping wood, walking miles, or just staying warm in cold weather. Then there's prep time. These meals usually need hot water, sometimes boiling, and in a real collapse, fuel becomes a resource. If your food needs 12 minutes to soak in hot water, guess what? That's 12 minutes of fuel, gear, and exposure you've got to deal with every time you eat. Shelf life is another trap. The packaging might say 25 years, but that's under ideal storage, cool, dry, stable. You keep these in a hot garage or truck, that clock speeds up fast. Oils go rancid, seals fail, and you won't know until you need it most. And let's talk about taste. Yeah, it's survival, but you still need morale. If your only food for 3 days tastes like wet cardboard or has the texture of drywall paste, you'll feel it. Mentally, physically, it wears you down. What works better? Build your own food kits. Start with rice, oats, lentils, canned meat, peanut butter, and powdered milk. Real calories, better shelf life, easy to rotate, and you can eat it cold if you absolutely have to. Add MREs if you want, but test them before you trust them. Tactical meal kits look clean on camera, but in a real grind, they leave you hungry, frustrated, and underfueled. Don't prepare for the photo, prep for the fight. Number 9. All-in, 1 survival kits from Amazon. They look like the perfect deal, everything you need in one compact box. A flashlight, knife, fire starter, whistle, compass, wire saw, even a fishing hook or two, all for $20 and change. It screams convenience. But here's the truth. These kits are a trap. A shiny, tactical-looking trap. Every beginner prepper buys one at some point. You feel prepared because the box is labeled Survival Kit, and it has 20 different items inside. But when things get serious, these kits fall apart, literally and figuratively. Let's start with the tools. That knife? Dull, loose blade, weak steel. Try cutting the paracord with it more than twice, you'll be switching to your teeth. That tactical flashlight? Weak beam, garbage battery life, cheap plastic threads that strip after a few twists. The whistle? You'll blow your lungs out and still be barely audible. And the compass? Might as well be a spinner from a board game. Even the carrying case is flimsy. You drop it once and it cracks. The foam inside is just for show, it's not securing anything. Shake it around and everything's rattling, getting scratched and tangled together. Nothing in these kits is built to last. None of it's meant for real conditions. And worst of all, they give people false confidence. You think you're ready because your kit looks full. But what you actually have is 20 mini failures packed into a box. In a real emergency, that kit won't save you. It'll waste your time and possibly cost you your life. If you want to be ready, build your kit piece by piece. Test every item yourself. Carry a blade you trust. A flashlight you've dropped. Fire starters that work wet. Don't let a bundle deal decide your life-saving gear. Prepping isn't about checking a box. It's about knowing your tools will work when everything else doesn't. And no factory-packed survival kit from Amazon is ever going to deliver that kind of certainty. Buy smart. Build slow. Test everything. That's how you survive and not by hoping some cheap kit will carry you through collapse. You think food will save you when the system crashes? You think people will trade gold for rice? Maybe. But let me ask you this, how are you going to cook that rice without fuel? Store it without containers? Keep it safe when your neighbors are watching your every move? See, real preppers know when the collapse hits, food isn't king. It's common, and common things lose value fast. The items that'll actually matter? They're the ones no one's talking about. The ones people throw away now but will fight over when reality flips. And by the time they realize it, the smart ones will already be trading those worthless items for bags of food. This isn't just another list of prepper gear. This is the real inventory, the stuff that quietly becomes currency when food becomes background noise. In this video, we're going deep into 12 hidden prepping products that will be worth more than food in a real, long-term collapse. Not because they're rare, but because they solve problems that food can't. After each one, I'll give you my blunt take, no hype, no fluff, and I want to hear from you in the comments. Which one of these would you never give up, even if someone offered you their last meal? And if you want more than just the basic prepper checklist, if you're building to outlast instead of just surviving, then hit that subscribe button now, because when food runs out, the game changes. And you better have something else on the table.